The respiratory system consists of two components: the conducting portion and the respiratory portion. The conduction portion of the lung begins at the trachea and extends to the terminal bronchioles. The trachea bifurcates into two primary bronchi, which enter the lung and then branch several times to give rise to a smaller secondary and tertiary bronchi. Bronchi lined by pseudostratified ciliated epithelium differ from the trachea in having plates rather than rings of cartilage, and in having a layer of smooth muscle between the lamina propria and submucosa. In smaller branches, the amount of cartilage decreases, whereas the amount of smooth muscle increases. Also, the number of glands and goblet cells decreases. The tertiary bronchi continue to divide into small bronchioles. Bronchioles are smaller branches of the bronchi and are distinguished from them by the absence of cartilage and glands. The smooth muscle layer is generally quite prominent in these structures. In larger bronchioles, the epithelium is still ciliated, but is usually simple columnar. The end of the conduction portion of the lungs is at the final segment called the terminal bronchioles. In the terminal bronchioles, the epithelium will be simple cuboidal, mostly club cells, formerly known as Clara cells, a few ciliated cells, and no goblet cells. The terminal bronchioles open into the respiratory bronchioles, which are some short, transitional regions of bronchioles which have a few individual alveoli in their walls. The walls of respiratory bronchioles might have small knobs of smooth muscles, collagens, and elastic fibers between the opening of adjacent alveoli. The respiratory portion continues with the alveolar ducts, alveolar sacs, and finally ends at the alveoli, where the significant exchange of gases takes place. The walls of the alveolar ducts are lined by alveoli and alveolar sacs, clusters of alveoli. The walls of alveolus are covered on both sides by a squamous epithelium of type 1 pneumocyte cells. Within the walls is an extensive capillary network filled with red blood cells. The type 2 pneumocytes which secrete surfactant, have large rounded nuclei and vacuolated cytoplasm. In the lumen of some alveoli and in the wall of alveoli, you will see macrophages called alveolar phagocytes or dust cells. Also, it is almost impossible to appreciate in these adult tissue sections. The lung is divided into lobules with the bronchioles at the center of each lobule. The blood supply is organized according to the lobule. A large thin-walled pulmonary arteries run alongside the bronchi and bronchioles. These arteries are the main blood supply to the lungs. They carry large volumes of the oxygenated blood to pulmonary capillaries in the alveoli. Smaller bronchial arteries also accompany the bronchi and bronchioles. These vessels rise from the thoracic descending aorta and carry oxygenated blood to the tissue comprising the bronchi and bronchioles. These arteries are quite a bit smaller than pulmonary arteries and for their size have relatively thick walls. Large thin-walled pulmonary veins are found at the periphery of the lobules at some distance from bronchi and bronchioles. These veins drain the intrapulmonary circulation and carry oxygenated blood.